Let's talk about something that haunts pretty much every creator. You pour your soul into your work, your art, your writing, whatever it is, and what you get back is, well, nothing, just silence. So today, we're going to dig into how you keep that fire going when it feels like you're creating in a vacuum. I mean, let's just put it right out there. How do you keep showing up to the page or the canvas or the microphone when the likes aren't coming, the comments are a ghost town, and that audience you're dreaming of just isn't there yet? It's a feeling that can completely paralyze you. But what if that silence isn't actually a bad thing? What if it's the start of something amazing? You know, creating when no one's listening isn't just about being stubborn. It's a real discipline. It's about drawing a line in the sand between the part of you that needs to create and the part of you that wants the applause. And honestly, that line is what separates the creators who are in it for the long haul from those who are just chasing validation. To really get our heads around this, we've got to rewind the clock. We're going to look at one of the most incredible stories of creation ever told. It's the story of how a composer who couldn't hear a thing wrote a masterpiece that the entire world would hear forever. Okay, so check this out. Ludwig van Beethoven, this absolute musical genius, starts losing his hearing in his late 20s. The one sense you'd think is totally non-negotiable for a composer. By 1814, the world of sound is basically gone for him. So what does he do? Give up? No way. In that complete and total silence between 1824 and 1826, he sits down and composes the Ninth Symphony. The Ninth! Just try to picture this scene. It's the premiere of the Ninth. The final soaring note of Ode to Joy hangs in the air, and then the place just erupts. Thunderous applause, people weeping, cheering. But Beethoven, who's on stage, he doesn't hear a single bit of it. He's still facing the orchestra. One of the musicians actually has to walk over and gently turn him around so he can see the ovation. He wasn't composing for a reaction he was literally incapable of hearing. He was composing for the music that was already living inside of him.
And that's the whole key right there. His deafness wasn't just some tragic obstacle. In a way, it was a filter. It blocked out all the external noise. The critics, the audience's expectations, what was popular at the time. All that was left was the pure, unfiltered music in his head. It didn't silence him. It clarified him.
So this is an incredible story, but how do we actually use it? Well, we can take the lessons from his life and build them into what we're going to call the Beethoven Framework. Think of it as a 5-step blueprint for creating with total conviction, especially when you feel like nobody's watching. All right, here are the 5 steps. Super simple. 1. Compose internally. 2. Ignore the silence. 3. Revise for truth. 4. Finish anyway. And 5. Release with faith. Now let's break down what each of these really means. Okay, number 1, compose internally. Beethoven heard the symphonies in his head long before they were ever performed. For us, that means we have to develop our own voice first before we go looking for feedback. Trust that inner vision. Number 2, ignore the silence. He literally couldn't hear applause or boos. For us, that means we have to stop obsessively checking the stats, the likes, the comments. That external noise will just pull you off course. 3, revise for truth. Beethoven tweaked his work to serve the music, not to please an audience. We have to edit and improve our work to make it better on its own terms, not just to chase a trend. 4, finish anyway. The guy finished entire symphonies no one had even asked for. We have to see our projects through to the end, even when it feels like no one's waiting for them. Because finishing is how you get better. And finally, number 5, release with faith. He put his masterpiece out into the world totally blind to how people would react. The lesson here? Share your work and then let go. Because the creation itself, that's the victory. And that idea right there, that creation is the victory, that leads us to the biggest, most important mindset shift of this whole thing. It's a totally counterintuitive truth about why we create and who we're really creating for. Here it is. On the left is the lie that almost every creator believes. I need an audience to justify my work. The idea that if nobody sees it, it's worthless. But Beethoven's life flips that completely on its head. The truth is on the right. You need your work to justify an audience. The work has to come first. The quality, the passion, the sheer act of finishing it, that is what earns you an audience, not the other way around. I love this way of putting it. Recognition is the echo, not the source. The source is you in a quiet room doing the work. The applause, the followers, the sales, that's all just the echo bouncing back. You gotta create the source first. You have to make the sound before you can hear the echo. And when you really get that, it changes everything. The silence you're hearing right now, it's not rejection, it's not failure, it's a gift. It's your private rehearsal space. It's the freedom to mess up, to experiment, to try weird things, and to forge a voice that is so uniquely yours that when people finally do hear it, they'll know it instantly.
Okay, so let's bring this all back down to earth. We've got the inspiration, we've got the framework. So what can you do right now to start applying this? How do you start composing your own masterpiece?
All right, here are your action steps. First, set your own internal standard of success. A win isn't a viral post, it's finishing a chapter. Second, create a compose internal ritual. Maybe that means you write for an hour before you even look at your phone. Let your voice be the first one you hear each day. Third, track your output, not the response to it. How many words did you write? How many hours did you paint? That's the stuff that matters. Next, commit to finishing one big project, your own Ninth Symphony, no matter what. See it through. And last, every single time you feel that silence, consciously reframe it. This isn't rejection, this is freedom.
Which brings us to the final and most important question. It's true. The world might not be listening to you yet, but that's not the question that really matters. The real question is, are you listening? Are you listening to that idea that just won't go away? To that story that only you can tell? To that music that only you can hear? Because that, right there, is where every single masterpiece begins.